So anyway, back to Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So I was kind of watching it because I hadn't watched it in a long time. I don't even know if I've watched it in the last, couple of years. And it's generally considered to be top tier Marvel. A lot of people call it the best Marvel movie. And coming off the heels of Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, I wanted to sort of relive the magic of when the MCU was at its peak. And what's really interesting about Captain America, the Winter Soldier, that I really think and why it works and why Marvel used to work so well is it's rather simple, and I would call it mostly writing. Everybody, I mean, even though you're watching a superhero movie, so it's weird to say this, at its core, the key is to start with your characters and build out from that. So you need a great script with great dialogue. That's hopefully what you have first. And then you have characters, you have actors that aren't just saying the lines, but they're bringing life to what they're saying. I mean, these are obvious things, but it's really hard to do, and it's really hard to sustain. And there's a lot of people that aren't even aware the level of three-dimensional thinking that's going on. Like, you have to know it's not just a great line reading, but is the camera in a position? Are you looking at someone's face? Have you made the proper edit? So when you see somebody say something, maybe you have a two-shot, and you cut into someone's face and you get that little twinkle of recognition, so the audience sees that they're not just saying their lines, but they're internalizing, and you actually are feeling what it is that's actually happening in the scene. And there's a lot going on in that opening scene, and if you watch Winter Soldier, you feel it. It's all, you feel it. Here is the article that I wanted to read that was published yesterday in Medium, called One Marvelous Flaw, and it's by Scott Safran. Between 2008 and 2019, the Marvel Cinematic Universe dominated cinema screens the world over. Moreover, it conquered popular culture. It made lifelong comic book geeks' dreams come true, foisting characters like Rocket Raccoon and Ant-Man into the zeitgeist. It was the zenith of the Marvel experiment, a nearly 60-year effort to weave a narrative tale traversing hundreds of titles and thousands upon thousands of individual issues. And it remains Marvel's Achilles heel. If I'm to recommend one book to any lover of comic books or superheroes, it is Douglas Volk's All of the Marvels. A truly titanic achievement, All of the Marvels, A Journey to the Ends of the Biggest Story Ever Told, is the charting of Volk's trek through more than 27,000 individual issues as released by Marvel Comics from 1961 until 2017. In the book, Volk analyzes the many tentpole characters of the larger Marvel universe, the overarching stories, and its intersections with popular culture. Though its chapters have their specific focuses, from individual heroes to entire eras, Volk's book presents a uniform thesis. The Marvel canon is a single story, one which uniquely appeals to its audience and reflects the natural course of history as a funhouse mirror of America. The existence of a multiverse where anything and everything suddenly became possible sapped the heart out of the once enrapturing MCU. With potentially thousands of variants, who could or should we actually invest in? Who was in it for the long haul? Who was a glorified cameo? And those chapters without multiverse roots, such as Thor, Love and Thunder, perhaps, what was their purpose? This new schema disrupted the expected cadence of the MCU, attempting to straddle the line between unified narrative and anthological entries. Moreover, it put far more weight on the individual releases. The burden of this quality of content was never meant to bear. The MCU is always more than the sum of its parts by its own design. And if I might interject, leading up to the Avengers. They knew that's where they were going. From the end of Iron Man, they knew they were going up to the Avengers, so they knew what they were doing. And now, without a sum, the MCU is only its parts. The MCU thrived from 2008 to 2019 because it was telling one story. It had the appearance of an expansive universe, but it was all working toward a single narrative, to a vastly greater degree than even its comic book counterparts have ever done. Every single entry advanced the plot of the Infinity Saga in character development or plot, whether we knew it at the moment or not, setting up for the two-part payoff in Infinity War and Endgame. Sure, there were Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows, but they were quite distantly canon, held at arm's length by creators and fans alike. When it came to be branded, promoted, theater-released entries, it was all Infinity Saga all the time. And it had to be, because every effective film series, with paltry few exceptions, has abided the single story rule, because it is what we want. It is what we expect in cinema. I do think that political agenda was part of the problem with the MCU. I think in terms of their hiring practices, who they were hiring to direct certain movies. Multiverse of Madness was interesting, but also kind of unfulfilling. And look, no one has been more bummed out than I have. I mean, I like a lot of Eternals, but again, it goes nowhere, does nothing, which is unfortunate. I would like to see the Marvel Cinematic Universe come back. I don't know if it can, to be honest. I mean, Fantastic Four was fine. I liked Shackman is a good director. I liked the characters. But again, because they wanted it to be 2 hours, I felt that I was watching Fantastic Four for all of its beautiful design. I love seeing how Galactus was portrayed. I love the feel of it all. The movie totally felt like I was watching. I was never in it. I was never in it. I was watching something from a distance. You know, you never had those moments from the beginning of Winter Soldier when Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers, you know, when Sam Wilson tells him to listen to Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man and he pulls out, I got to write that down. I mean, you're in. Fantastic Four, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was like, it really was a great representation. You're never in it. For as good as I thought everything was there, I felt a distance. I was never pulled inside of it like the MCU used to do to me for the most part all the time. And Steve Rogers, you know, when Sam Wilson tells him to listen to Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man and he pulls out, I got to write that down. I mean, you're in. Fantastic Four, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was like, it really was a great representation. You're never in it. For as good as I thought everything was there, I felt a distance. I was never pulled inside of it like the MCU used to do to me for the most part all the time. And I liked Thunderbolts, but I didn't feel like I was getting a full meal from Thunderbolts. And with Fantastic Four, I felt more like I was a guest at a really nice dinner party where I didn't really know all the guests very well. I came with a friend and the food was good, but I didn't feel like I belonged there, if that makes any sense. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But we'll see.